Okay, welcome. This video is going to be about my project that I'm doing right now with these mushroom bottles. So I just got 2 racks of these in from fungifforthepeople.org. You can buy them there, links below in the description. For those of you who aren't familiar with these mushroom bottles are used a lot in Asia, and they're typically used in big production lines where they'll have like tens of thousands or maybe even millions of these in one facility, and they'll get the racks with the bottles like that will all get pushed through like a Coca-Cola bottling line pretty much. You know, it'll remove all the caps, it'll fill up the substrate, pack it in there, put the caps back on, load it into an autoclave, and then once they get ran, it'll go through another machine that spawns them all, and then another machine that empties out the substrate when they're done. Some of the advantages of these is that they're plastic, they last forever, they're durable, they're reusable. The only thing that will break or not go bad, not break but go bad, is the filter. So there's a filter inside of here. It's sandwiched between these 2 pieces of plastic, and you just rip the 2 pieces of plastic apart and replace that disc. Other than that, you're not going to be replacing anything in the system. Because these bottles come with a rack and everything, that's pretty much everything you need. You don't need to get racks. You could use a little cart to like pile them up on so you can move them around, but you could stack these all the way to the ceiling just like that and put them in a room with some circulation and keep your humidity, or not humidity, but your temperature right for incubation. That's all you need. So they're very space efficient. The other thing is, because the size of them, it makes it to where, like, if you're doing, say, maitake or an enoki or something like that, it makes it to where the cluster size is like perfect, like this nice little cluster that's like package size, perfect. So I'm going to be doing some lion's manes, which should give me some nice little, you know, retail sized lion's manes, probably quarter pounders, I don't know, we'll see. It holds about a pound and a quarter of substrate. You can also use these for spawn. So if you want to have reusable spawn jars and not use glass, which, you know, you run the risk, especially when you're busting up your spawn jars. For those of you who are familiar, once your spawn jars are colonized, you have to shake them up, and sometimes they're so colonized that you have to bang them, and then it breaks, and then you can cut your fingers, you can cut your feet, you can cut your legs, whatever. So broken glass is not cool. So yeah, you have these bottles here, and they're about twice the price of glass bottles. But in my experience, glass bottles break over time. I would break about a jar every 18 bottles a week. I used to run for spawn, and I would break a bottle every other week usually. And it's just with the heat cycling and clanking them together, they break. So yeah, one of the things that I'm working on right now is figuring out the hand tools. So I made an inoculation tool. So the first thing you got to worry about is, if you just go ahead and pack it like that, to where the substrate is just packed in there and there's no hole or nothing, when you spawn, it's going to take like 2 weeks for it to get all the way to the bottom. So what you need to do is make a hole. So what I did is I made this tool where it has 3 holes. And my idea was it would make the colonization a little bit quicker because it won't have to travel so far. The only downside was, I guess my rods aren't completely straight, and then also just the function of this, how it works, it keeps getting clumps stuck between the prongs. So it works kind of, but not as good as I hoped. So I'm going to have to revisit this idea later maybe, but I'm going to go ahead and make another one where it's just a single rod. And then the other thing is, I noticed that the level that it's packing it to, it's like too high. I want to say I want to go a little bit lower, to where once I spawn, I want a good, you know, ½ inch between the cap and the substrate. And if anybody's done bottles and has any pointers for this, let me know, comment below. So what I did was, the first rack I did the triple tool, and that meant that I couldn't really get that top packed down as tight. And then with the whole top rack that I'm packing right now, what I'm doing is I'm manually packing it and then just running this big dowel that's laying right here to do a single inoculation point. And this is 20% wheat bran, so the formula was 16 pounds of hardwood fuel pellets, which is oak fuel pellets, oak sawdust. And then I did 4 pounds of what's it called? Of wheat bran. And then I think it was like 14 liters of water, something like that. 14 or 15 liters of water. So yeah, what I'm doing with this is just manually packing it down, getting it nice and firm, and then running the dowel down. But I'm going to go ahead and make a tool for this next time. Maybe see if somebody has a lathe and they could spin me a nice solid one-piece tool. Comment below if you have a lathe and you can do it for me. I can send you the specs, and maybe I'll send you like a tincture or some mushroom jerky or something. And now I don't need 20 of them, so just one person, please. So yeah, I'm going to be playing around with these, and I'll be running them in my my pressure cooker. I think if I ever do go to these or use them more often and get more of them, I'll just load them in the sterilizer. Especially if I had like a steam shed, these would work really well because they're square. So if you had like a kind of like a walk-in cooler kind of shaped room, just pump some steam up in there. Make sure that your walls are autoclavable, and you could stack these things all the way to the ceiling and get thousands of pounds in there easily. And they should, because they're not isolated, but they're separated. The steam can get in there, and opposed to like 10-pound bags are laying on top of each other and there's no airspace, these should cycle a lot quicker too. So like say in my steam drum, I'm not going to have to run them 20 hours. It might be more like 12 hours because all the bottles are going to be heated all the way to the core in like 3 hours opposed to 10 with a bag. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and run these tonight and tomorrow. I think I'm only going to be able to fit 16 per load. We'll see about that. I know I'm not going to fit all these in my A941 at once, so I'm going to have to do it in 2 loads, I'm pretty sure. And then tomorrow I'll be inoculating, and I have some spawn that I'm going to be using, and it's going to be millet spawn, so that should be a little bit better than my typical Milo and oats, because the fact that it has to fall down that hole, and I feel like a smaller grain would do that better. So we'll see. But yeah, I'll be tracking the difference between the single inoculation point and the double, between colonization and like first fruit, and of course yield and all that. So it's £1.25 of substrate per jar. So I'm expecting maybe like £1/4 pound per jar, first flush, something like that. That would be nice. I'd be happy with that. Maybe a little more than that. So if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this, comment below. Let me know any ideas that you have that you'd like to see. If you have any equipment ideas, how to build it, or any recommendations on how to do things, if you have experience with this, please fill me in. Let me know. Maybe save me some time, as I've saved people other time doing other tasks with mushroom cultivation, sharing my knowledge. So, but yeah, give it a thumbs up. Keep on mushrooming. Take it easy. And if you want to buy these, Fungi for the People, check the link below. Later.